Very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming and joining us in this opening session for Ecosperity Week and the GenZero Climate Summit. I think there can be no better way to start off a climate conference week than talking about nature. It is also important that we start by also trying to dispel some of these unnecessary binaries as Lingmin and some of our fellow panelists have spoken about, which is like a difference between reductions and removals. Clearly, in the Paris Agreement, we all recognize that both are important. I want to focus my closing remarks really on two broad things. One, what does it take to get scale on nature? And secondly, why we believe that there are signs of optimism. Let's take the first one. We have always been talking about scale. And when we look at nature, sometimes we always, and when we are discussing with some of our junior colleagues in the office, and we say you got to be strategic, don't miss the forest for the trees, and we ask ourselves, when you look at a forest, what do you actually see? Now, of course, you can see lots of trees, or we can actually see nature's gigafactory, the world's largest solar plants, right? It is all about converting solar power or solar energy into something that we could use. Now, if we are able to convert something like investing into nature into almost something like investing into infrastructure, we begin to get scale. Now, the critical thing that we have as a problem is the inability to manage the risks properly. But the ecosystem is improving on that front. With the things that Amy, Tommy, and the rest of the guys are talking about, we are now better able to dimensionalize the different aspects of analyzing risks for nature investing. So that means that over time, we hope to be able to reduce the cost of capital associated with investing into nature. That is the one way that we can get to scale. Not just simply because it makes investors like us more ready to invest, but it also opens up nature investing to a broader pool, a broader sets of investors potentially that can participate. And we are seeing signs of that, with development banks and others actually coming into nature investing with a much lower cost of capital or required return. That can only be helpful. So that's that. The second aspect of it is, why do we have reasons for optimism? Now, if you are listening to all the different climate conferences today, we are always talking about headwinds, right? Headwinds when it comes to climate, headwinds when it comes to nature, headwinds when it comes to sustainability. As if like we have never dealt with headwinds before. What's new? Now, recently when I was at the Milken conference, I shared with some colleagues that, for those of us who actually do sailing, right, is it possible to actually make progress against headwinds? We can. There are processes like tacking, right? You may not be able to go head on, but you certainly can go 45 degrees left, 45 degrees right, and then after a while, you will get there. It may be a little bit longer, but you will get there. So the very fact that there are headwinds should not be a source of discouragement or to be able to tell us, look, something is fundamentally wrong. All sectors go through ups and downs, right? This is not the first time, it won't be the last time. So, are there therefore signs of optimism? And I think there are. If you look at some of the speakers that you had before you, Mark, for example, recently announced the close of the TRF at over $1 billion, right? And we are very happy at GenZero that we were able to support them on that front. And that is over $1 billion close to be able to focus on nature restoration in South America, right? If we think about buyers, are they really absent? Not really. Just now, Jamie was here, and over the past few weeks, we had actually announced that 2 of the projects that we were supporting actually had signed Amazon offtake. One, which is a sustainable rice farming project in India, and the second one, which is, I don't know whether Scobie is here, but with Imperative for our Spectrum project in South Africa. So it is clear that people, big buyers, big tech buyers even, who obviously would be in love with technology, are themselves investing into nature solutions, right? Because it makes fundamental sense, right? So there are signs of optimism. There are also reasons for us to be able to better manage the risks and to be able to lower the cost of capital, to invite more investments in, and to make the bar for investing a little bit lower. So with that, I wanted to thank all of you, and in particular, I want to thank our colleagues from UNEP, Martin and friends, for joining us to be able to organize this particular session, which is very important in sharing perspectives around nature investing. As I conclude, I want to ask us to think about what would make for success. So let's just say we are going to have another session like that about nature next year. What do you think success will look like? As I was sitting at the back and listening to the panelists, I think that if we are able to fill at least half this room with investors, with bankers, with financial institutions in the next few years, I think that we would have been quite successful, because that would actually be a sign that actually we are able to better mobilize a broader pool of capital to be interested in investing into nature. That would be an incredible mark of success. So with that, thank you very much for spending the time with us, and I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.